Basir, over to you now. And you are working. I mean, as per my understanding, the bank is working upon an innovative model for digital banking. And I understand that your vision and your aspiration about digital banking is that it may actually happen much earlier than what we are expecting. But so what are the areas where you feel that this disruption is actually going to happen earlier than our initial expectations? And also, if you would like to elaborate your thoughts on, the contribution of some of the nimble market players and collaborators who can actually gather, cooperate, co-create, and generate value. And also, one more question I would attach to this is that, do you feel that there is some synergy package for banks which are attractive for banks to pursue?
Okay. So, Faraz, I think you're asking me two questions.
Sure.
One, I think you're asking is, how soon is disruption going to come? And the other you seem to be asking is, what about collaboration? How do we work in a shared economy? So I think in terms of disruption, disruption has always been there. If you look at the last 50 years, things have been disrupted. Only the pace of disruption is changing. For example, think about a fax machine. That was disruption 20 years ago. But today, if you go buy a fax machine, I think it'll be difficult to find one. And more than that, if you ask a millennial to use it, I think that's not going to happen. So I think, but yeah, disruption is there. I think how is it changing? I think information is changing, right? So today we post photographs of our dinner, our meal on Instagram, on Facebook, etc. Foreign policy in the U.S. seems to be dictated or sort of message across the world over Twitter. So that is disruption. But what is really happening in the financial services industry? So the information part is becoming digital, but the product is still analog. So the product in our mind is still what the product was, and that hasn't been digital. I think what's happening is, so a lot of the banks are using digital. For example, all the banks use, we have internet banking, we have a mobile app. A few years prior to that, and even now we have the ATM machine. But what is that? It is really a virtual branch. So we are thinking of digital as a way of making our banking business more efficient. But is it really, so all of these three products that I spoke about, effectively it's a virtual branch. So we are replacing people to some extent and giving them convenience of 24 hours by these apps. But it hasn't, to me, that is still not disruption in the way what we're talking about today, is because we're still thinking of banking as a service, separate from what we do in our day-to-day lives. I think what we are talking about disruption today is where banking becomes part of the consumer, or not even the customer, actually the consumer experience. So for example, if we can transfer images, files, thoughts, everything on Facebook and WhatsApp, why can I not transfer money on WhatsApp and Facebook? When we are shopping online, why do we need to go to a separate part of the website to make the payment for a purchase? For example, if you're on parkwheels.com, you can today choose the car you want on Park Wheels as opposed to the Sunday classifieds in Dawn, but the decision how to purchase the car in terms of how to finance the car is still completely different from the choice of the car. I think disruption is when the banking piece of it is built into the website. So the banking becomes just a way, like that product gets delivered to your house effortlessly, the banking component, the payment needs to happen effortlessly. And to me, I think that is what is disruption today as we are talking about it. And so I think banking will be there, of course. But if you are to be a high street bank, a full service bank, a universal bank, we need to build in banking into product rather than thinking of banking as a separate service. What was I think your other question was in terms of collaboration.
Yes, in terms of collaboration, and also, do you think that there has to be some sort of synergy that you can create by partnering with, potential acquisitions of fintechs, or perhaps maybe any sort of other collaborations? And fintechs is just one example. You talk about telcos or, online retailers or anyone.
Sure. So I think all of us, we've done banking a certain way, 25, 30 years, part of our careers. For even myself or my colleagues, to us today to go back and reimagine banking. And talk is cheap, you can imagine anything. But then to experiment with it, to deploy it at the pace of fintech, I think within the way banks operate today, I think that is extremely difficult. I think it's a big challenge, and we can talk about it, but practically it's a big challenge. So I think collaboration is the only way so that we can harness sort of the young talent, the new thought process to work with us. For example, at JS, what we've done is we've opened up, as part of, the buzzword today is open banking. So we opened up currently about 13 APIs. Hopefully we'll add more to it in the next few weeks. So this is like a Google APG platform. It's a way for fintechs to communicate with us, to make products, and then use the bank as sort of the back office to those products. Google is one of them. IBM has a product. There are many different products. So that is one way. But again, so that is just the product, and there's the open banking part of it. But to be truly integrated into, just like the Google example we just saw, when they put 33 inches in there, that is a combination of open banking, it's a combination of big data, and it is a combination of AI. And for that payments to truly take place, it has to be on blockchain. So I think for us as a conventional bank, to do all of this together in-house, with colleagues that are 40-something or 50-something, I just don't kind of see it happening. So I think collaboration is really, really the only way this is going to work.
Thank you very much, Basir.